afterlife, or because I do believe in the spirit world after some research.
Me too.
Oh, I think okay, here's what I was going to say. Okay, so if you do think there's a spirit world, what do you think of the idea that our souls are actually there right now, and that's where, like, if you were to say, like, the bulk of our soul is in a way, and then what do you think of the idea that we're there, like, eternally, essentially, like we haven't really left there, we're still there, the way, like, holographically you can have the part in the whole and all that. And it is almost like that idea of like a surrogate body or something, but not going to that level, not like a transhumanistic thing. But what I'm asking is, what do you think of the idea that our soul is in the spirit world, like in its completely glorious eternal self, like totally, like always in its peak form, in that, or whatever, in that sense. And then we take just a part of our energy to then go incarnate in a lifetime. And then when we die, it's not like we're really going back there from here. We're just rejoining with like more of our totality. What do you think of that idea, or anything in relation to that? Do you think any of that could be happening, or is not happening, or anything related, or even if you have a different way of wording it?
I think that's one way to look at it.
Real quick, let me chime in here. I just want to point out that the Jewish lore behind that is every night when we go to sleep, we go back to the spirit world and confess our sins to the King. And then when we wake up, we come back. So just thank you. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, nice. That's beautiful. That's interesting.
Definitely.
I mean, I don't know about the king thing. What does that mean, though? Like someone who's above you, or are you just or is it like just like a becoming aware of your wrongdoings, or is it like an authority thing where you have to confess to this king? And then is there like an or else thing? Like if you don't confess, he'll do something, or is it not? Is that not part of it?
Well, they believe that judgment is a lot like a courtroom, and that there's the father is the judge, the son is basically your attorney, and then there's the adversary is a prosecuting attorney. So you go up there and basically you confess your sins to your attorney, and then he either blots them out or, I'm not sure exactly. That's what the Jewish lore is. That's what the Jews believe. So I just thought it was relevant to the conversation. So thank you.
Well, I've got some experiences that I kept questioning. I kept going into these experiences, asking why. Eventually, I got I got sort of blocked out. So I had a lot of like just blank, dark experiences, and I got to thinking that it's almost like let's say there's one unified divine aspect of conscious intelligence. So if that thing wants to experience itself, it has to carve off facets, aspects of itself, so that it can view itself from the outside. I get that. What you're saying, Jerry?
I'm glad I'm not the only one breaking down and sharing stuff that I don't get to.
Well, is there any? So what? Okay, so Eden, did you respond on that? Whether you think that like our soul exists in the spirit world, or eternally, and then just a part of us comes here, or do you think like our whole part comes here, or like how do we exist between these worlds in your view, the physical and then this beyond?
Oh yeah, thanks for the question, Joe. I think our this is the spirit world. I think there might be more, like another underworld below the earth, maybe in Sheol, and then another spirit above the earth and maybe above the dome in heaven. And so in this spirit world, I think we have, like you said, the epitome of God's creation, the human man and woman. And then when we die, I think our spirit leaves the body and then can either go, I think eventually, I'm still researching, are we going to go to a sleep until that new like earth where all the corruption is taken care of through God? And then we can have a new place for all the spirits that chose to follow God will inhabit the earth. I think that's the story in the Bible. I'm still verifying, but there's another claim in the Christian community that if I were to die tomorrow or tonight, or later today, that potentially we would go to heaven above. So I'm still exploring those as well. I hope that answered, but I like how the way you put it because that seems close to what I believe.
You might awaken though. Ephesians says, "Awake, O sleeper, arise from the dead, and Christ shall give you light."
I think everyone's like putting too many human characteristics to the afterlife. I think you're going to go to a place and you may be reincarnated again, but I doubt that it's somewhere so primitive like a human characteristic, sort of a ambiance.
Thank you.
Have you ever?
That's something I was wanting to share.
Can I just ask real quick? Well, sorry, were you going to bring up something different? I was going to go just real quick a DMT route, but just before, can I just go quick then, just to say, Carlos, have you ever done DMT? You don't have to answer if you don't want, but because everyone has different experiences, but you can enter this like timeless realm, and so a lot make a link that the spirit world is like that, where there's just like this eternal now moment.
You can I've done that with meditation.
Yeah, you can access it with other ways too. Meditation can do basically everything if you're good at it, or if you can get your brainwaves in a really low state. That can be like actually one of the most powerful. You've had some powerful meditation experiences?
I mean, I've been able to kind of let go of time, and you know how like when you're having fun, they say time flies. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, it's like almost like time stops in a way, and then you're just in this like zone.
Right. So I was
You
trying
can
to
also
focus on
have
like peace and love. So I was just experiencing that, and it felt kind of like, yeah, it kind of felt like timeless, and it felt real quick at the same time. And then when I woke out of it, it was like an hour or two, you know.
Did it feel like home or like very familiar?
Yes, like relief.
Because some people were like what I'm referring to as well, like it's this, like it feels like this eternal home that's like extremely familiar, like even more familiar than, like now in a lifetime where let's say you come home, you open your front door, you go inside, everything's totally familiar, the food in the fridge, you've got whatever going on, where it's just completely familiar. That's like a human level of familiar. Or let's say you see your family members or whatever. But the way like this state is that I'm referring to, because I think it's just like the liminal threshold to what the afterlife might be. There might just be there's like this in between where you can access, DMT, you can actually access all kinds of things, but the one I'm talking about is not necessarily even a high dose one though. It can be done on even like more medium doses or even lower doses in some cases, although maybe more like medium. But you can just enter this state where, yeah, it's like eternal. It's timeless in a way, but like all time exists there. So it's not like time like went anywhere, but it's like all contained there. And it's like this eternal now moment. And it feels like very, very ancient and very familiar. Like the familiarity, like I was saying before, of like coming home to your own house or whatever, just like pales in comparison to the way people describe that familiarity. Like it's like an ancient, eternal familiarity. And yeah, it's like very kind of peaceful and calm and like eternally, it's like a very kind of comfortable state as well. It's not like there's no like pain or suffering if you get to that level of it.
Yeah, boy, I'm doing DMT this weekend. Oh yeah.
Have you ever done it?
When you talk about like familiar, like I've had that sort of out of body experience where you're in an environment that you've never seen before, but it all seems very familiar, and the entities and stuff are all very familiar and welcoming, and it's like trying to teach you something. But I've been in these states with like at the end of a salvia trip or on some medium dose DMT trips where it's like you're not in that after space, you're in like this purgatory and you can't quite get there or you're shut out. And in those states I found it's like it is very like that now moment. And it's like I've been able to like see like complete darkness and then being able to see like one glimpse of something through it.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Interesting. I'm just kind of, if anyone else wants to respond as well, I'm just kind of taking that in. And then I was going to say too, like you were talking about meditation, Locksmith, and I think like if you're in a really deep meditation state, your brain can release endogenous DMT. So that's another interesting thing. So some people might be on DMT it's like a natural way to release it by bringing your brainwave to a really low state and being able to, you can actually free your mind of thoughts by just letting your mind think everything it needs to, and then keep going more and more relaxed. And then eventually you'll just exhaust everything you needed to, and you'll notice you're just not thinking. That's really one way to do it.
People also
Yeah.
have a really close relationship with animals. There is meditation that you can do, which is kind of like 101 in meditation. Really, the first thing that you do is learn to find your animal guide, and it's either normally like a dolphin or a bird or.
That is another type, yeah. Like the idea that we all have like various animal spirit guides and things. That's another approach. Yeah, you can actually do like meditations that focus on that too, for like the healing spirit of certain. There's a whole lot of practices with that, and
One of the
yeah, these things actually have like healing effects, which is what's interesting, like physically and spiritually and emotionally and all that in the person. So even though someone might just write it off, but there's actually the animal spirits thing. There seems to be healing spirits that come with animals in that way, I think.
One of the things that I think it's important to mention about meditation or these spiritual experiences is it's not so much the absence of thought, but it's like no resistance of thought. So when you're meditating, if you have something that's bugging you or something that keeps coming into your mind, rather than trying to ignore it and shut it out, it's to let the thought come and pass. It's like allowing things to happen without making yourself like having to control it. And like I kept going into these experiences with something in the back of my mind or wanting to achieve something or just being too focused. And so it was like I kept getting put into this purgatory as like you can stay there, you're not coming in.
Interesting. I mean, there's a whole category of purgatory experiences that can be had. Like there's a wide range because I mean, yes, there's like psychedelics and stuff, but then there's meditation, there's using breath, breathing, there's even just happens spontaneously, and then in dreams as well. There's like all these different kind of experiences, and like purgatory is one of them.
Oh man, lucid dreams. I've had so many times where it's like where you try to fall asleep with like all this hypnagogia and you try to focus, like try to let it all go and like actually go to sleep, but still with that focus. And it is so difficult. Like I've gotten so close where you're seeing all these like psychedelic patterns, like just completely naturally, and you're trying to fall asleep, and you almost just get to sleep, and then you like remember that you've got to stay focused to actually have the lucid dream, and then it's like it gets cut because you put
Are
too
you
much
able
focus
to?
into it.
Interesting. Are you able to get fractals and like actual geometric shapes? Because yeah, there's the hypnagogic and hypnopompic, which is coming into sleep and coming out of sleep, those two mind states. And it's interesting because the human eye actually, or the human brain, or the whole thing, those fractals, like when you take LSD, for example, it's very fractal and it really accentuates those parts of the human mind. But that's actually a natural thing that even without any LSD, just when you're waking and sleeping, you can get. But some people are more, able to see it than others. But it's actually a thing that the human mind naturally does. Do you get to see those in your transition states, like actual fractals and some of those geometric shapes and things, even without any substance? Because that if you're, you'd be,
Like,
it's a bit more rare to be able to people can have that, but it does exist. Like
pointy crystally type patterns, almost like like spirographs, a flower of life sometimes.
Well, have you
it's
seen?
like-
Have you done LSD? I guess because LSD is very fractal, and that's a little bit what I'm alluding to.
Yeah, and especially like when you look at your face in a mirror. But
That's pretty wild. Yeah. Your pupils are
something
like.
so that's what I was going to say. I think people that have this like psychedelic hypnagogia, this is a question. I mean, not many people have it, but it's called visual snow, where it's almost like you see static.
Uh-huh.
I see that. Also, if you stand up real fast and squeeze your eyes really hard.
Well, actually, pushing on your eyes, you can get just pressing. If you close your eyes and you can even gently press. You don't need to push it really hard. But you guys have maybe tried that, and if you do a couple deep breaths as well, you can get like a huge like fractal light show, which is also kind of similar to the LSD seems to just basically take you into like essentially like a waking dream. So when you go into your dream state, there's the idea that you don't really have the same kind of control over it. You're just like you're kind of like a lot of people are just kind of like adrift at sea, like in their dream state. Now, if some people can really like have a richer dream life, they might be able to really access things. But a lot of people like don't really get into their unconscious in their dreams, or maybe they do, but it's just kind of more like things are happening to them rather than actually like processing it. Whereas when you take like a pretty good strong dose of LSD, it's like your unconscious is just completely open and you're awake and you're actually like you're yourself the way you are right now. You can analyze, you can think, so, and that's why it's so unique. So it's almost like it's putting you into like what almost would be like a very deep lucid dream state in a sense, but it's different. But at the same time, like it's taking you into that, and just while you're awake and able to navigate and see things and experience things. And anyways, yeah. So that's why it's like so intense. But the visual effect and even the deep unconscious technically are accessible in the dream state and in the transition state. But again, not everyone seems to have the like natural tendency to have that, So anyways, yeah, you mentioned
What
it's
did you say?
interesting.
What did you say, Gio? Did you say do Hapė right now? Is that what you said?
Dude.
They
Yeah.
gave me complimentary Hapė, bro, after we talked about it. Isn't that crazy?
How do you do
Have you tried it?
DMT? Like, if I was going to go out on the street
Yeah.
and ask for some DMT, what should I be looking for?
Wait, did you
Well, I don't think you'll be able to
What-
find it.
I want to ask Beast about,
You should-
did you apply it yourself or did you have it applied to you? Or
I just
now
I
I want to know, but we could also talk about the DMT.
just took it myself, yeah.
We were more kind of talking about like the afterlife and all these different things, but we were
I
then
was
mentioning meditation and then all these
A
different
quick
ways of
comment
like,
on the
and then dreams and the dream state. And then I'd mentioned LSD, but dude, if you've done Hapė, I would love to hear what you've experienced. Cause that goes
Isn't
right
that
quick comment.
tobacco? Hapė?
What'd you say?
Is it tobacco? Isn't it tobacco or is that something else?
Yeah, it's like tobacco, except there's like ashes in it and some other type of plant.
Did they blow it up your nose?
They
Or is that
could.
something else?
You can take it
Okay.
yourself too.
There's something I want to quickly mention
Yeah,
about
it's
the
basically
lucid
like,
dreaming stuff.
Oh, real quick, it's like a shamanic snuff. So that's one term for it, but it's like a powder it's like plant ashes and different like essences of flowers sometimes. There's a bunch of different things they blend with it, but then ideally you would have like a really good natural wild jungle tobacco that was ground down, and they have all these ways and they grind it into this powder. And then sometimes also a little bit of like calcium carbonate or like seashell. So there's different blends and different ones, but these other plants with it can be like very powerful healing plants. And then, yeah, basically like you don't sniff it, but it's blown into the nose and into the nasal cavity. So you don't like huff it up your nose. It's just
I did.
blown in. You actually kind of hold your nose and your stuff closed. Like you're not breathing in. You're actually keeping everything kind of closed as if you're holding your breath. And then whoosh, one in the right nostril, whoosh, one in the left nostril. And it's very powerful. Like in terms of the tobacco feeling of it, it'll last for like a good 2 hours. You'll be like buzzing from the tobacco, but it's also like, if you do it in the more like healing shamanic way, you like do it, you close your eyes, like you might even go through some things, you might be shaking, or you might, like some people even go through like a trip, but it goes right, because blowing it into the nose like that, the pineal gland is right there. And these plants, some of the other ones, if it's made really genuinely, like the real tribal stuff, it is powerful. It can just launch pad you, and you can have profound just healings and alleviation of stresses and things. It's like, but it's also not like a full blown trip, so you can just do it in like 10 to 15 minutes. But yeah, go ahead.
No, yeah, it was
My
good. It was a very clean nicotine buzz, kind of like the other stuff, the mapacho or anvil, as some people call it. But at the same time, like, I just went and played Call of Duty Zombies right afterwards, so it wasn't like a spiritual profound thing. You know what I mean? It felt good though. It was good.
Well, did you get like a self applicator and then do it yourself?
I just snorted it. Yeah, I just put a little bit on my thumb and index finger, like the crease.
Okay.
I thought you were supposed to light it on fire. No?
No, with the Hapė, basically, like if someone else were to apply it for you, or if you apply it yourself, the idea is to kind of like, you like center yourself, take a few deep breaths. You could even write in a journal like your intentions if you want to. And then you kind of have something that you might want to like work on, like, oh, I have stress about my job, or I have, this emotion about my girlfriend, or just whatever that you might want to kind of approach.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, you do like it depends on the dosage, but if you blow it in there where you don't breathe it in, you do like, if you do like 2 strong amounts or whatever in both nostril, that's obviously a strong dose. And then you kind of hold it there for at least like 5-10 minutes, like without even breathing in, and really let it seep in. Anyways, but yeah, that's how, and then like people sometimes just kind of, sit there a little bit with their eyes closed. Sometimes like you even like when it's done in the shamanic way, you have like a bucket that you can spit into, because sometimes like you want, like spitting actually releases like energy, and so you can actually spit into if you want to. Or some people like shake. Dude, I've had some people do it like that I'm facilitating, and they have like a full blown like hour-long trip. Like in some cases, people can have like a full blown trip. Mostly that's not the case though, but even some people can have like some huge like third eye openings though. And yeah, and when you do it in higher doses like that, like it's like kind of a whole little you can make it like a ritual.
I think that trip feeling or spiritual, like if you do it in high doses, you're basically just doing high doses of nicotine, pure nicotine.
And the other plants, like there's a plant called Cameru, which I love the Cameru ones. That's one of the has such a good feeling going in your nose, like because these are plants, and so really like it doesn't damage the way like cocaine like makes you all bloody and stuff. Oh, terrible! But if you have good clean Hapė, you can actually do it
really
multiple.
clean.
You can do it multiple times a day, ongoing, and there's no negative effects. If anything, there's like positive effects. Like it doesn't like burn out your nose or anything, because it's all the natural
It was
plants.
very clean, and I actually have tobacco snuff. I haven't used it in a while because it's strong, but
Yeah.
that shit burns. But this stuff.
So maybe you didn't do it the
burns a
classic
little bit.
Hapė way, because you need a Caripe, like a self applicator. It's like shaped like a V, and you put one part in your nostril, and then you put your mouth on the other, and you put the powder down in there. Then you go and you kind of blow, and then it blows it like a V shape. It blows it into the nose, and then you kind of hold that nose, and then you fill it up, and you go and you blow again. And if someone applies it to you, then they do the little breath of air. But if you just kind of put it to your finger and snort it up there, yeah, you got some of it in your system, like you said. So yeah, it sounds like you felt it, because you said it felt pretty clean.
The thing about tobacco is that it's found everywhere in the world. Everywhere has its own natural tobacco. Like Aboriginal tobacco in Australia is called. Well, there's 2 of them, but the one in Western Australia is Pituri. It's found in the foothills, or like the foot of western facing cliffs, and like it would be traded with people. It's like a peace offering sort of thing. But Mapatra is very strong. It's like ceremonial tobacco, and you don't really smoke it. It's more just like to bless things, but that can be used for that. But what I was going to say about meditation is that if to get more like hypnagogic, like psychedelic hypnagogia is choline or choline citrate. It's like your brain's energy runs off acetylcholine. It's a good supplement.
Nice. I hear you. Hey, that is an interesting part of like, yeah, with the acetylcholine and dreaming and other like kind of nutraceuticals, as they call them. But bees, I just found that one really quick, that random one. That's one example of a Caripe. And so that's like one part you put your mouth on, one part you put your nose on, and then that's like a self applicator. That one's got like a little crystal and whatever design. But do you have one of those?
No, I don't have one of those. But god damn, the first time I did, I guess I didn't do that much. But it's like that's intense.
Does it say what tribe it's from?
I think it's Utoto, but let me see. I think it is the Utoto tribe, because that's who I bought it off of. But anyway, wow. You feel a burning sensation in your chest, kind of like you just had a shot of whiskey, kind of thing, but not as bad like that. It's a good burn, like I feel focused for sure.
Have you ever combined it with caffeine or like betel nut?
Or you just did some?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yo, I'm pretty sure tobacco was exclusive to the Americas until like Europeans came over and brought it elsewhere. Same thing with like chocolate. You won't,
Oh,
Yeah, like
originally,
South
originally
America,
that was only exclusive to the Americas, not
Middle
Australia
America.
or Asia. Or,
The
What are
cocoa.
they
Right.
doing in Africa though? They're smoking stuff in Africa, aren't they?
they probably have their own unique.
Some bushweed or something.
But yeah, dude, tobacco was one of those things, those commodities, just like coffee, dude. I don't know if coffee was around everywhere else, dude. Like, there's a
Well,
lot
don't
of
they say
these
coffee's all
commodities that we
over?
take for. Well, I don't know. A lot of these commodities we take for granted now that they're widely available. Back in the day, dude, they just discovered these things for the first time ever.
Well, I mean,
As
that's
far
from
as
the
I know.
idea that we lived on different continents, though. Which is that what you're going with? Like, because yeah, like certain plants are only going to be in certain regions, but then plants like cannabis they claim are all around. But are you going from
Yeah,
an idea
cannabis
that
is all
like
around.
you think cannabis is all around? Coffee's not quite all around though.
Coffee, chocolate, and tobacco, I think, were exclusive to the Americas, and certain spices that we take for granted today. But yeah, I mean, think about the Amazon, dude. You're not even certain animals. You're not gonna find certain animals all over the world. They're only in certain regions. But like, yeah, certain plants only grow in certain regions. No, not cannabis. Not cannabis.
Is all around the? Do you think
Yeah,
cannabis is all around the world because ancient people liked it and spread it all around the world?
I have
Sort of
no
what I think.
idea.
No, from what my general understanding is that cannabis actually does just grow natively on like virtually every continent. Like probably not Antarctica, but like pretty much everywhere. Although don't like hold me to that. I'm just kind of saying I think my general understanding of it is that it is kind of like an everywhere thing. But is that true or not? I mean, meaning like yeah, Africa, South America, North America. There's basically in Russia all that there's just cannabis is native to like the whole world.
Like I would imagine when people first found it, wherever it was growing, they liked it, and I figure they would have probably spread it everywhere they went. They would have took it with them, and
Let's see what the
along
AI
with it.
says. This says no, it's
Yeah,
not
look.
native in the whole world. Let's see what it says here. Oh, go ahead.
Well, yeah, obviously, like the tundra, you're not gonna find it there. But
I mean, that's main. I don't think the same as mainstream thinks about a lot of stuff like that. I think people spread a lot of that shit around that they like.
No, they actually do
I
claim that
would.
it's kind of native to like Central Asia, South Asia, East Asia, cannabis, and then it was spread from there. But is that true
I
or
don't
not?
believe that.
I know. And then there's the idea that it kind of grows everywhere in a way, or at least in a lot of places.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it's
it's interesting.
the
One of
the
the
in this.
Indian guys I used to work with, he's from South India and he's like a farming, grew up in like a rural place. And he says that chili and marijuana grow locally, just natively in the forest.
Yeah, what
And where
about
is
like
that?
the Afghan region? They're like the Indus Kush Valley. Marijuana's been there for thousands of years. There's evidence of it. 3,000, 4,
Hmm.
5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Korongo Valley. Poppy as well.
Kush.
Yeah, I mean, there does seem to be
Humanity goes back
regions though
way
that certain
further.
plants are from, and then they expand from there.
So,
So it's
Gio,
kind
I
of
was
hard
thinking
to
think
about
hard to
this.
know, really. Like what is the truth versus what we're told? Because now,
Wait,
like things are all
I
over the
think
place.
real quick though.
I think
I was
humanity
thinking.
goes back
Oh,
way further than what science says it does. I think it goes back tens and tens of thousands of years, like really advanced people, and not just cave people.
well, here's
And
what
Flat
I.
I
earthers,
think a lot,
all those
I
flat
think a lot
earthers.
of the
Sorry,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead,
ahead.
Cole. My bad,
No,
Cole.
go ahead. I was just saying they were all flat earthers. Go ahead though.
oh yeah, I guarantee they were.
But they
Leave
were
the
advanced.
conspiracy
Wait,
to the professionals.
hold on, I gotta get this out real quick. I was thinking about it, right? Like, we live in a world of abundance, right? And if you think about it, the perversion of that abundance is why we're in the state we're in right now, right? But the thing is like if everyone had everything they need, right? You can grow whatever you wanted. You can have access to all these healing plant medicines. You have access to all the etheric technology that allowed you to basically be autonomous to an extent, right? But it doesn't give you any moral compass. And I feel like, there was what the incentive back then, like let's just say we did live in abundance, would be something sinister, in my opinion, like blood sports. Like you would have different incentives because everyone would live for a while, or you know what I mean? Like death wouldn't be a thing. Like it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Like killing and all that stuff. I don't know.
Graham Hancock had an interview recently, a week or two ago, and he was giving his theory on civilization. And he
Oh, really?
thinks that before the last reset or the global cataclysm, that there was an advanced civilization with advanced technology and even telepathy. Like they could communicate. I don't know where he got that idea from, but apparently he's reading their ancient literature. He says there was no suffering, that like humanity, it was like the golden age, that all the ancients talk about. The world before the flood was like a golden age.
Lion, let me kind of link this in for a second with the entheogens. Okay, because it just made me think like, dude, like things like Iboga and peyote, like they basically take you through what you need to get to so you can get like back to that state. It sounds like that you're describing. So what do you think about the idea that like there's plants that are actually like somehow have that like wisdom in them? Because it just reminded me like, I'm not saying it's like an exact perfect fit, but the way you were describing that. But what do you think of the idea that those plants like actually have some kind of wisdom to like take us back to that in a sense? Like,
it's definitely a possibility, and that's his take. Actually, he said that we had a shamanistic society prior to the flood, where everybody was like, everybody was extremely cerebral, and everybody was like, medicated on this stuff that allowed them to actually have like a higher state of consciousness. And it was like this collective consciousness where people were able to like communicate telepathic because of it. And also like just advanced technology from it.
yeah.
That's his take on it. I'm not necessarily sure if that was the case.
I wonder, like, does that link into, but would that link into like an old world with all this architecture? Old, could it? Or because I don't know that Graham Hancock quite goes to that. I know some of his work, but
no, it does.
Does he take it to that now? Does he go to?
He doesn't go to Retartaria.
Tartaria.
No, he doesn't. I don't think he gets into Tartaria. But I'm saying that he does. People think he's a quack because when he starts talking about the ancient civilization having telepathic abilities, that's where people start losing interest. But they do. That's where they draw the line. But they do agree with like the it's known as catastrophism, where you had like this advanced civilization prior to the Younger Dryas impact.
Cataclysm. I think about 6,000 or 4,000 years ago.
10,000 to 12,000 years ago.
But what you were saying, like, weren't you saying pre-flood it was like there was no pain, no suffering? What were the other characteristics that you were saying of what
it was a golden age of civilization where you had like medicine and just high knowledge, high wisdom, advanced architecture, advanced technology, long lifespans.
Free energy?
Yeah, probably free energy.
Nice.
I mean, have you ever had a
and do you think we're headed back to that? Well, go ahead. Do you think we're headed back to it?
I think they're trying to get civilization back to that point where you had a one world government. But I don't think it's going to be like, it's not possible because of the entropy that has occurred on the earth, that we will never be able to get back to that state. We would have to heal the earth because the earth, it doesn't, we can't notice it because we're in it, right? It's like when you boil a frog, right? The frog doesn't notice it's boiling. So we're in a reality that's gradually declining in entropy, right?
And it's not going to change.
Ecological.
It's not going to change overnight, kind of thing.
So the biodiversity is decreasing, the electromagnetic potential is decreasing, the magnetic field is weakening, genetics are becoming more corrupted, right? So like everything's heading towards this gradual decline in both energy and order, right? That's what entropy is. There's two types of entropy. There's the loss of energy, usable energy, where you get to the heat death of the universe, but there's also increase in disorder, regarding information, like all types of information. Genetic information is one example. And that's been increasing ever since the creation.
Well, since this, are you saying since this golden age? Like, do you think that's the last main age from the one we're in now?
Yeah. Well, even during the golden age, there was still an entropic effect. It was just a lot more pristine because it was closer to the creation. Where now we're like 6,000 years departed from the creation, where we can't notice the changes because we're living in it.
Well,
but it's drastic.
Wow. Okay, so do you? Okay, so yeah, it's like a huge descent of sorts, in a way. Now, do you think is there then an upswing though, where the cycle resets and we're in like a new dawn of some kind of rebirth of like one of these
new heaven,
or like an
new Yuga.
Yeah.
That is part of the Christian doctrine, but the Buddhists have a similar idea, but it's basically a reverse of entropy, where it starts going back the other way, where you start getting an increase known as ectropy, where you get an increase of order, and the universe starts to heal itself. But I don't see that happening personally. But it's called even the Big Bang theorists, they adopted it into their models. It's called I forget what the theory is called, but it has to do with the crunch.
We're in Kali Yuga at the moment. I don't know exactly.
Go ahead. I was just saying something about time and space bending in the timeline.
Well, I was going to say, we're in Kali Yuga right now. I don't know much about that system, but when you have an experience, like psychedelic experience and you're with someone and you're both on the same page, sometimes you can get to this point where you kind of both, you know what's on each other's mind to some extent, even though there's separate streams, you can kind of key into it. And I think the ancient civilizations were almost able to tap into that at a baseline, you know?
Yeah, like if you're both on, well, very psychedelics, but like mushrooms, but also LSD, if you're both on LSD, you can be very tuned into each other and telepathic. Also, ayahuasca, they originally named the chemicals in it, like they didn't know what it was yet, and they called it telepathine because they knew that it, like people could have telepathy with it. Essentially, they were going to call it telepathine. That was before they understood it was like dimethyltryptamine and harmine and harmaline. They called it telepathine, like with telepathy in the word. So, yeah, with a lot of these, it does seem like that can, and I know what you mean, especially after like in some cases, you can really sync up to where two minds become one.
This one experience that I had that I'm thinking of is it was a kind of a medium to light ayahuasca. We also had it was a high dose of LSA, but it had been in the sun, so it was like very
LSA. You had actual LSA, lysergic acid. That's interesting. Yeah, that's similar to LSD in a way, but did you have it from the seeds, or did you have like a separate version of it? That's kind of more rare.
It was from the seeds, but it was crystalline, but it had been in the sun. But it was very, you know how they talk about what's the vine called?
Ayahuasca.
Anyway, the ayahuasca vine, how they talk about that being the light and the DMT, or something like that. So it's almost like the LSA brought out. It was very sparkly, but we had this very, I don't know. It's just created some sort of connection. It was,
I mean, you can get the LSA from morning glory seeds, apparently, and there's other methods that you can get it. But I heard it makes you nauseous. You have a tendency to puke on it. Where on pure LSD, you don't get nauseous.
Yeah, no, don't do that. Don't take the seeds directly. What you've got to do is, I like to use aloloquy because it doesn't have the poisons. But if you're using Morning Glory or Hawaiian Baby Wood Rose, what you need to do is crush it up and put it in icy cold water for like a number of hours, and then filter that, and you won't get the.
I'm gonna try it out.
Because when you with what is it called, Hawaiian Baby Wood Rose or Morning Glory, it has these precursors to cyanide. They're called they're like the sugars in the material, and it's like they're cyanogenic glucosides.
Yeah, no wonder why. Yeah, because I've heard a lot of people. My cousins took it one time, and I didn't really even feel like taking it that day, but it was all right. They said, and I read because I like reading about stuff like that, people's experiences. They said it made them nauseous stuff compared to real LSD.
Yeah, cold water extract. It's amazing. Like do like a 13 seeds of Hawaiian baby wood rose. That's a big dose, but do it like cold water extract for like 4 to 6 hours. And you won't get any of that because the toxin is attracted to only warm water. So the cold water will get the LSA, not the cyanide. But it's such a body load. But I've had situations where it's like everything's moving, like the walls are breathing. It's a very tactile experience. It's more tactile than LSD.
It's all about the type of seed and then how you process it. Yeah, in terms of the results. Like he mentioned the oliloquy seeds. It's kind of a strange name. It's oliloquy. I just posted the Wikipedia for it. And that plant, that one right there, that's one you were saying, Shepa, that's or less toxic, a lot less toxic. Because this is one of the.
You can detect those seeds directly.
There's some theories that this is actually what was in the sacred drink called kikeon, which was during the Eleusinian Mysteries in ancient Greece. The Eleusinian Mysteries, which they claim went on for like 4,000 years. And they would do these like rites basically, and they would all drink this potion called kikeon. And the question is like, what is kikeon? What is it actually made of? And there is one theory that it's like maybe some sort of like a wine, an alcohol, even though it's probably like fairly low alcohol content or whatever, but it may have had a little bit of alcohol. And then basically like oliloquy seeds is one of the theories. And they would get together in this huge, they would have like a group trip basically where they would all drink this. And then they claim that like that's where all of like modern day art and music and theater and all that stuff was like birthed, is what they claim, like during those mysteries. Like they were having some like.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Eleusinian mysteries was like an admixture, fermented admixture, a bunch of things.
It was a bunch. The wines back then had a bunch of different ingredients, dude. So it would have had probably opiates plus other things in it, dude.
That's why they called it elixir, right?
Well, this says here, like ergo from rye. They claim that's another claim that was.
Ergot.
So yeah, different theories.
Yeah.
From the kikeon.
About ergot, the bacteria thing.
The fungus.
It's a fungus.
The fungus. Yeah.
That stuff is nasty. Oh,
it grows on rye.
Yeah, that's.
Someone needs to break into the.
I think
someone needs to break into the Vatican Library and just get the truth.
What if they don't have the truth? What if they just have like tax documents down there and we're all fucked?
And just LARPing.
I think most of the people in power LARP. I think that's their favorite thing to do.
Yeah, do you think they tried to build like this thing of like the Illuminati or whatever to where make it more freakish to people, but really they're just like old men that just are good at psyops?
Yeah, they're literally just theater kids. Like kind of like Dave's theory. I'm kind of starting to see that.
I don't know though, dude. You don't think there's some reptilians maybe at the top of this thing?
I mean, do we have any actual proof?
There are stories, but
the stories are so believable. But that's it. That's
for real though. Do you think there could be another species at the top of the control system, or do you think it's all human?
Yeah, but they're interdimensional. I don't think like you got like they're not walking amongst us, dude. I don't think so.
Are they hanging out on lands that we don't have access to, and they're like 15-foot tall reptilian, like humanoid things, or no? Is that possible or not possible? Do you think?
When you say lands, do you mean like within our realm, like our plane of existence?
No, let's say land that's hidden from us, from the general population.
Yes.
Could there be some reptiles that are? I mean, that is one like ideas at the Illuminati at the highest level are some kind of like reptiles, and then there's like the shape-shifting reptiles. Then there's like the Nephilim, and there's like even ideas with that too. So, yeah. Do you guys think that could be a thing, or no?
Adrenochrome and child sacrifice. Yeah, I don't know.
They're in the earth. They're in the earth, like the Native Americans. They talk about the Hopi, talk about these creatures in the earth, these ant people, right? But they're
Yeah.
like, they're not. Yeah, I don't think that they're like the same as us. They're not living in the same frequency as us, bro. Like we don't have access to that realm, and they barely have access to our realm.
Well, one idea is that you would have like a demonic entity, basically. Then there's like maybe some reptilians, possibly, who are channeling the demons like at the highest level. Then those reptilians are like genetically modifying and splicing bloodlines and like farming humans, basically, and genetically splicing their genetics with ours, and then having this like their demonic infestation like take over humanity, basically, or like affect us through all this modification and all the chemicals, vaccines, everything else too. Like, do you go that far?
Yeah.
Now, you could or could
I've
not
thought
have the
about that.
reptilian side part of it. You could either remove that or keep that, or have some other being in the middle. But like, is it like from the demonic level, spirit world, whatever, all metaphysical, all that, to the physical, and then what's that transition look like?
I've thought about that, and it depends how far down the rabbit hole you want to go and how much you believe of it. But I wouldn't put it past the Watchers, the fallen angels, to try to get human beings to basically make them vessels so that their nephews could inhabit the vessels. Right? Their nephews are literally the demons. Right? The demons are disembodied. So the angels, with our cooperation, because they don't have access to our realm, they do, but not in the same way that we have. Right? And maybe through some type of genetic engineering, they could get clones for their
Yeah, like, do you think
nephews.
that's happening? Yeah. Okay. Is there like another species who is connected to this demonic entity, and then that species is trying to like splice and genetically engineer basically humans who will have their bloodline, and that will somehow like carry that demonic thing onwards or whatever. And then you get like the CIA, the FBI, you got all the different levels like down from there. And then even like just common folk that are like affected by it. Maybe like, do you go that far to consider that like just the vaccines and everything they've done to us has like...
I definitely think that there's something to do with like a mind control sort of field. Like I'm not sure if you know what I'm talking about. When you're like in a very I've felt it in like a lot of Bible studies and stuff like that, where people get on this, they tap into this universal kind of like spiritual thing that's like, it's almost like a field that's associated with Christianity. And I don't know if you've felt that before, but it's like, I think there's also this mind control thing that's based on collective fear in a similar way.
I know the truth is stranger than fiction, dude, and the truth is that you definitely have other intelligent beings besides us in the cosmos.
On this earth right now, you think?
Yeah, when I say the cosmos, I'm not talking about like their model, but within
Right.
within the multi-layered reality, and they definitely have access to our realm, and
Do you think
I do think that they've been trying to create clones, dude. Like that's something that I remember hearing about a long time ago, where like there's ufologists that have been studying this phenomena for like 30, 40 years. And whether you believe it or not, dude, like some of these testimonies, people, they went to sleep pregnant, woke up not pregnant, and their fetus was gone. Right.
Oh
So
my gosh,
either the government came in, right, put and somehow stole the fetus without them knowing, dude. Right. Some type of operation. Or you have interdimensional beings, watchers that have the ability to literally steal your baby. I just don't know though, because again, like we don't have concrete evidence of it, just testimony, and but we do have like people with chips in them, and you know how they claim to have been abducted, and they have found chips in people and stuff.
So wait, are
Like
you
behind
going
the
from
ear.
an angle? This is all very interesting, and I want you to keep going if you got more to share on this, because but I just real quick, like, Is this the idea that it would have to be a different race other than humans, and then they have like whatever kind of superiority? It doesn't even have to be reptilians necessarily. It could be, but that's a whole question in and of itself. But I'm just saying, for the sake of the combo, whether it's Nephilim or just something else, fallen, whatever it may be, but they're not human. And would it kind of like, do you think it's more likely that there is some kind of unhuman, or not more, whatever you think is the case, or whatever you think, like that there is another something other than human, and then they are, that's why they are so like evil really to humans, because like they see us as like literally like a lower species than them, you know, versus just being humans having that belief. Like, but I'm saying like, and then doing all the genetic cloning and engineering and like all the other like social engineering, would that be as likely to be humans doing that to humans, or another kind of consciousness doing that to humans? You know, like, is this like a parasite that's on us, or is this really who we are? Anyways, yeah, it links in with all that.
Well, it's more likely that humans are doing it to humans, and humans have already done stuff like that to other humans. But I wouldn't put it past these interdimensional beings, and I don't think they're human, right? The ones that are actually coming into our dimension or coming into our reality from somewhere else, from beyond. They basically have been experimenting with us since even before the flood. That's why the flood happened, dude.
Now, are those
You know what I'm saying?
interdimensional beings physical, like flesh of
Yeah.
some sort?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Are
Yeah, they're not purely spiritual. Their nephews are. Their nephews died in the flood, became the demons. They became the Shadim, the jinn. But they used to have bodies.
now I got to ask you, do they eat humans? Do they eat humans? Even though it's not funny, I'm laughing because
I don't know, dude. That's actually, I don't know.
Oh,
Do they
people
eat-
definitely
do they
eat
do this
humans.
like what's the adrenochrome? So they can
I'm not
shapeshift.
sure, dude. That's more
so
of a
they can
that-
shapeshift. Do you think they can shapeshift through their genetic engineering? Do you think they can shapeshift from their form into human form?
yes.
Oh yes. Now we're getting to it. I know you and I have talked about this, and I'm very
But not. I mean, they officially
thinking a
can
lot. I think
shapeshift.
thinking similar possibilities could be the case. Yeah.
They can take on many forms. Yeah. They
Can't
they
they
can
like
take on the
infect the
form of a
host?
bird, an animal, a person.
They
But
like
their natural
infect the host.
form, is dragon like, serpentine like.
Still kind of
A
reptilian. A little
Yeah,
bit reptilian.
reptilian. Yeah.
And then
Well,
they
you know,
can,
cannibalism is
hold on,
common
can they
in
shift
Papua New
into
Guinea.
like a body that looks like actually like a human? Do you think? Like,
bro,
like
Revelations 9. I think it's
that's the
9.
wildest.
Or, dude, read Revelations 9 and tell me that's not describing like a dragon. What comes out of the
Yeah,
bottomless pit after the smoke?
dragons are real. They're probably. I mean, are they on this earth right now though? In other in somewhere else?
There's two
Under.
serpents described in the Bible. The
I'll be
adversary
right back.
and Christ is also uh, depicted or related to a serpent, a fiery serpent.
Yeah, literally a dragon. That's why it talks about the prince of the air. Like, you don't think that's a coincidence, right?
The prince of the air.
Like, what do you think that means?
Well, isn't that
That's the
like
adversary.
that's the adversary, right?
Yeah.
Right.
How what does it mean to be prince of the air?
It's crazy that the Chinese zodiac has all animals that we know exist, and then they have the dragon. So to me, that's saying, the dragon. They must have. They must have seen the dragon sometimes. Had dragons around when they started all that or invented all that. Why would they use all normal animals and one mythical animal?
Yeah, it's an interesting point. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Okay, so dragons that's a whole topic in and of itself. Like, could either massive dragons have existed or even smaller ones? That's a whole interesting. And then you have the whole like dinosaur story, which I mean, those things aren't really dragons, but there is some overlap and some of the like of that dinosaur stuff. So is that just a cover up for dragons? It's kind of an interesting idea too. And then do they still exist on the earth if they're real? That's even more intriguing to think that, like, if they're actually I know some people are going to think it's just crazy to think that it's almost like saying unicorns are real, but how do we know they're not out there somewhere?
Right. So what happens when you get given a worldview and you can't figure out the truth?
But are dragons the same thing? Because like the idea of like an Illuminati reptilian thing, there's some claims that they're like these like 15-foot tall reptiles that kind of stand on like their hind legs, and they're kind of humanoid in the way that they walk. And I'm just saying some of these like stories that people have told. I'm not saying this is absolutely true, but they claim that like they just eat humans, like they'll just chomp off like your head, like and they'll just eat you in like 3 bites. That's what yeah, there was one woman who claims that she was like taken to this place and she went through these like rituals.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Nathan Reynolds' story is pretty wild. Or it's like a whole entire society underground.
I think the one her name was Arizona Wilder. I just remembered it. Arizona Wilder. That her I mean, yeah, one can consider, is it all just made up or is it real? But yeah, what she said she experienced was, and she claimed that these were like the people running the world basically. She also claimed that like other like politician people were there, like Hillary Clinton and stuff. It's pretty like detailed. I mean, is that
It's
all
like
true
Donald
though?
Marshall. It's like Donald Marshall's thing.
So yeah, and then there's like these reptilians that she said there's only like a few of them, but they were like these like 10, like 12 to 15 foot tall, and they were doing like these like sick rituals where they were like bringing like children and humans up like one by one, and then like giving them some ultimatum, and then if they didn't obey, they would just like chomp their head off. Anyways, what she describes is like pretty intense. Yeah, I mean, is that true? Like that's a whole question, but. And then I think there's the claim too that they can like shapeshift into a human form, but they can only do it temporarily. So, yeah, they have to like swap in and out. I mean, that's pretty like metaphysical or even like sci-fi at that point. The idea that they could like be some kind of 15-foot reptile, but then like somehow shapeshift into an actual physical like human, like the Queen of England or something, and then go and then go back and transform out of it. That's like complete sci-fi to that level. But I mean, if that really happened, like I'd have to see it with my own eyes, ideally.
Could just be holograms. I don't know. I don't know how real all that is. That could be part of the theater, but I do know that it does say, that it will appear as the angel of light. That's how Satan will appear. So I mean, that means you can shapeshift right there, right? You can take different forms.
Well, yeah, I mean that's like another form of it. Well, like we were talking about before, do you think there's like, if there's like a demonic entity that is coming through humans, like whether there is some non-human entity or not, like do you think once it's gotten to humans, do you think there's like a demonic energy from the spirit world that has spread somehow through like the populace? Everyone at a different level, of course, like not everyone the same, but do you think that's happened at this point? That everyone's affected by it in some way, maybe, or that some are not affected, but a lot are. Or what do you think on that?
There's definitely an adversary,
Yeah.
adversarial force to be conquered.
Yeah.
Do you think that's done like internally or externally, or both?
I think it's true on both levels, probably.
So do you think like the adversary is separate from you, or is it part of you?
No, I don't think it's part of me.
So it's just something you would have to avoid, basically?
No, it's just the deceiver. We live in a world of lies and corruption, and humans don't have the ability to make a utopia, as some might think.
So then how did that get into all these humans? To where they got people like being doctors and like selling their drugs, you know what I'm saying? Like, how did they
I think it is
Because
in.
man,
so many
because
people?
man fell from God. Man fell from God by going against what God wanted.
I think it is in you in a way. You know, like doubt, all your, any evil thoughts. It's kind of like, it could feel like it's within you, right? But it's there for you to conquer it, and we're told how to conquer it.
Yeah. Like face the darkness kind of thing rather than try to avert away from it type of thing.
Yep. Christ came with the sword, you know.
which is the word of God.
Yep.
But what is it like if there's like an evil force that like takes a hold of someone, what is it doing in that case for them? Like, do they have any control of that thing having control of them? Or like how does the adversary come through just like the common man? That's kind of the question. Like I get if
I
you're
think
part of some like Illuminati crazy reptilian blood cult or something, yeah, okay, I could get how the demonic energy could travel through that. But I'm also kind of inquiring like how is it in just like common folk?
they're
And I'm
probably
not saying
inviting.
everyone the same, but yeah, there's people like going to the military, being doctors, selling big pharma. Like they got tons of people wrapped into their whole thing.
Well, the thing is, Satan is literally an entity that exists, but he doesn't have omnipresent ability, so he can't be everywhere at once. But he does have his minions. Like he has a whole kingdom, basically,
That's
of
interesting.
evil. So there's a hierarchy of demons and fallen angels, and he can send them, right? I mean, they already have dominion on the earth. So through them, he can have power over humans, but he can only possess or control like an individual at a time. He doesn't have God's power to be everywhere at once.
Yeah, that is very interesting because if like God is omnipresent and then that evil like can't be omnipresent, that's pretty interesting. Like, and then the way that the good always wins in the end, it would kind of have to be that way because that means the good or the bad never overtakes the good on the ultimate level. That would potentially put one above the other in a way, like that the good wins and the good is like if the good is light and then you can try to put out the light with darkness, but you can't like ever fully put it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it has this whole kingdom, but is that like a psychic connection kingdom to all these different souls that are like, I mean, I was talking about like a doctor or someone going to the military and like to the extreme level where they're like killing other people because they're being told to, but I know there's a whole thing with that as well. That's a whole topic in and of itself. But I mean, doctors are like selling big pharma drugs pretty much just kind of mindlessly. They're just doing it without even really knowing like what they're even doing, like spiritually, it seems like. And then a lot of people are just like, I mean, yeah, just bring up flat earth to people. They freak out, like, what is that? Like, why are people so like kind of programmed by this whole like, seems like social engineered like structure. Like they have all these people repping for them, for their lies, like the NASA, the Globe, all that stuff. Like people literally backing them up. They have like a whole army. People call them normies, whatever else. People use those phrases. Like, doesn't it seem like they have a whole army of people just doing their bidding. And how did they get that? How did they get that much coverage? There's just like a few of us thinking like, wait a minute, what's going on here compared to the masses?
Well,
I
it's
don't know.
like it's easy to go along with your flesh, right? It's just it's natural for
Do they have
man.
a control over like our family bloodlines? So they have some influence in there to even make it where you even have those urges in the first place, do you think? Or is that even how it's happening?
What, like a cabal deciding something?
Well, no, like if somebody just has some kind of like impulse that is like of some darker nature,
Hmm.
um, like sorry, I got distracted. I forgot what I was going to say. um, oh, if the person has some kind of like a like quote unquote genetic tendency to like either be hurtful to others or to be aggressive or different things like that, do you think that could be like already pre-planted somehow through like our bloodline? And could this like demonic force kind of thing like get in that way? Because how would it like be affecting so many people? That's kind of what I'm wondering what you think about that.
Like I said, you give them a worldview
It all
that makes
starts
them
with a
think
lie.
that there is no God and that they're God, or that there is no God and nothing matters. Either way, you get rid of God, that's what happens.
You get scientism.
You get this, yeah, you get all these evil people, because it's not the fact that um like evil is lack of good. You know what I mean? Or you can't be anti anything without the thing. You know what I mean? You can't be evil without good, but you can be good without evil. You don't need, like, there is an objective good in order to know what is evil. So it's just basically people turning away from the source, from the creator, and what he wants.
So would you say it's like a lack of God?
Yep.
No,
Right.
I think you're right about the beginning there, which you said about the worldview. I think pretty much that the way society is, if I am to like go into reflecting upon this, not that I necessarily think that this is the case, but if I'm gonna like try and think out one way that could go about being the case. I do think that the best way to do it is to make the schools and kindergartens sort of into like work camps, where you get that social conditioning very early on. And then biology and all this stuff, like if you don't believe in that stuff, doesn't necessarily need to be inherited. I think that how a child is being treated in a very young, early on, whether they get time with their parents or not, has a lot to say of how the child starts to orient and see the world. So if they always go to kindergartens and aren't with their parents, or even if their father or mother, they have like a wound of sorts, they are hurt, they're traumatized, likely because they are in this sort of like social labor camp setup, that just immediately afflicts the child, and they get some. That is what causes the child to misbehave, because it's already sensing that something is wrong. It's not in a natural environment or habitat. I think that alone is enough. Um, there's more to say here, but
Yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna
well,
monologue.
but I think I'm going to respond to what you're saying, but I was sidetracked for a second. I kind of got lost. I was listening, but I think I followed, but um it was sort of around
You have appointment at next stop.
like how does some dark impulse get into a human? Is it through the psychic channel? Is it just who they are? or is it some kind of a blood thing, or like a injection, like a vaccine, or is it like a genetic modification thing?
Yeah. To answer that directly, then
It could just be
I
someone's desire.
I do think that you can have things around you that can get into your system that can disorient you, which in turn, from that disorientation or even dissociation, it births itself as a natural. It just happens naturally because you feel unwell, and all depending on how unwell you feel or how disconnected, etc. You build dissatisfaction and resentment, and then you also compare yourself all the time with other people if the social setting is put up for that.
But
And
yeah, dude, like we're at this point, like it could be said that we're like domesticated humans in a way. Like we're not necessarily like wild humans. A lot of people have like weaknesses and autoimmune diseases and just weak in general, all kinds of components like that, like not nearly as
yeah,
robust
you could think of it
as
like that.
potentially our ancestors. And then if you combine, like they were probably much more emotionally robust as well, potentially,
Yeah,
and
I
just
think so.
strong and all in all kinds of different ways. So yeah,
Yeah, that's
like,
what I think. I think that.
but there's this whole like program going on that we're like living in, just this like people call it the Matrix, you know, in a way. But
Yeah,
like the amount of social engineering we were all just born into is pretty shocking.
I mean, yeah, if you like, just compare it to dogs. You know, they're not a wolf anymore if they ever were. And
Right.
dogs,
They're very, yeah.
yeah, and the
They're very
cows and
domesticated.
everything. Cows and everything, the sheep, the dogs, they're all domesticated. And working at that butchery I did earlier, I don't work there anymore. But it's so it was so normal to see them being like deceased, like the organs inside, they were really bad.
Oh no.
Even the organic ones, dude. And I think it's due to them being domesticated. Like we're trying to keep a sick and degrading type of domesticated animals with all the next implementations of, you know, the artificial food that they're eating and stuff. They're
Wait,
just like generation by generation, they're pretty much sort of falling apart. And
how can you tell that the organs were bad? Just wondering.
dude, they were glued to like the lungs were glued into the rib cage. The livers had huge white spots on. Dude, I will upload a picture for you right now
No,
of
the
a
organic. I'm
liver.
talking about the organic ones.
Oh wait, were they fed? Hold on, but even if they're organic, were they fed like grains? Were they vaccinated? Were they fed other like supplemental chemicals? Like I would have to know all of that because just organic doesn't necessarily mean like 100% grass fed, for example.
Yeah. And 100% grass fed doesn't necessarily mean it's good either, because the grass can be, you know, it can be sprayed or harvested in a way.
Yeah, but if it's legitimately organically
I'll show you.
certified, and I get it that sometimes they kind of rush that stuff and they don't really do but they're not supposed to be any contaminated grain with like GMO stuff or herbicides or anything like that, dude. Like,
I know, but they don't care necessarily. Here's one picture. This is at the injection spot. This was a very normal thing for me to find.
Oh,
this is organic though. This is organic.
Yeah, this is organic. If I don't remember, if I remember correctly, I think this was a calf about 1 year and a few months.
I mean, I've gotten like thousands of organs over the years. I'm sure individually, all you know,
this is not
that
organ,
are
no.
all good. Like, but it's best if they're like 100% grass fed without any obviously pesticides and no genetically modified alfalfa.
What is that? Wait, what would you do with that? Would you throw it away or would you just wash it off or what?
Yeah, good question. So this is not the organ. This is inside the shoulder, in the meat. This is inside the meat, the muscle tissue. I uploaded a video as well of the same because that was a cropped picture of a video that it came now.
That's disgusting.
It is disgusting, dude. So what is this?
I know, this conversation is
this
going.
is a normal buildup of some something that happens at the injection spot. I think this is also what you will find if you cut up, if you took the
What do you
BCG
say? Wait,
vaccine.
what are you
And
saying?
this,
Injection vaccines?
I think so,
It's
yeah,
probably not.
because
It's probably not
this naturally,
vaccines. No, dude. If it's
yeah,
organic, it shouldn't have any vaccines.
No,
Probably.
that depends on the
It's
country, dude. That no,
Yeah.
it's not right. It really depends on the country. And organic animals, they have a stricter policy that it's going to take longer before you take the meat, but it doesn't matter because if you get something like this where there's a pocket just inside the meat, a butcher doesn't necessarily find this, and in an industrial facility, they're making so rough cuts that likely they can skip this entirely, pretty much all the time, and it goes straight into the food production. And the reason why I found this is because I have a way stricter cutting routine to make sure that we come across it and throw it away. But that wasn't something that they had in that facility when I started working there. I made the stricter cutting routine for myself to be trying to locate things like this and leave it out of the production system.
You take it home for a discount?
Oh no, I don't want to eat this.
But you know,
This
I was gonna say
Lying.
they inject him sometimes with like vitamin stuff though, you know, and sometimes the area because these are pretty big needles, dude. Hyperburn, they're like 10 times the size of a human hypodermic needle, right? Because they have to penetrate deep into the muscle, and it's usually like vitamin B2 or whatever it is that cows need to stay healthy. And they can still get infected. Those areas, they can still get infected, even if it's not a vaccine or anything like that.
Yeah, well, whatever it is at that spot. I checked with the butcher, like the owner. He can confirm that this is something they found a lot. And when I was working there, this was like regular.
That's crazy.
Now
dude.
I uploaded a new video. This is of
That's
a liver.
crazy.
It asked me to mark it as sensitive. Mark is not sensitive.
Yeah, you might want to delete those afterwards because they might be considered gore, like the AI thing. You might want to delete them, and they're also just nasty. But because the AI might confuse it for gore or whatever.
Dude,
and if
looking
it's
at that, it's like,
Yeah.
are vegans retarded? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't even.
I got a screen share for you guys to be seeing this. 1 second.
Oh God.
No, you can post it. Just delete it after you post. I mean,
You should
whatever.
delete
if you don't
those
want.
pictures. I got it.
I did, but
It looked like Dubai chocolate.
I did upload it, but it didn't go through. So I'll just screen share quickly.
All right, Siak. I don't know what to think about the turn in the conversation here, but where are we at?
So here's a liver. Here's a liver. I will show you what exactly is going on.
I mean, real quick, like generally, or even if it's organic in most countries, it's still probably vaccinated. There's even antibiotics they can use. There's even other technically like organic pesticides they can use, and so on. And so those are all questionable, and other fertilizers too. And then they also still might be fed like grains, and then again they can be vaccinated. So like it's really hard to find non-vaccinated meat. I am able to find some, but it is difficult to find meat that's like never vaccinated. But I do think it's a lot better.
Yeah, and the farmer can be illicit, or they can just be lying. They want to try and get into an organic food production company because they
Organic is
more
better
money.
though because it doesn't have glyphosate generally, the Monsanto glyphosate, and they are pretty good with that. You might get a little trace amounts, but that's the one good thing about organic. You pretty much won't get the glyphosate. I think they did that as like a control group. They're like, all right, this glyphosate is such a freak show that let's like make sure there's some people that are not consuming it so they can have as a control group. So they kind of let us not have glyphosate if you don't want it for the most part, if you eat all organic, but you still might get trace amounts. Otherwise it's in like every other food. If it's not certified organic, it's crazy.
Okay, then
you should
I'll
lower
share
your
this.
stream quality. It's at 1440p.
Is the quality? Sorry, say again. Is it bad?
No, it's too powerful for most people.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, what do you see there with that liver that's abnormal to you?
I now have 1080p,
I see
30
a
FPS.
face.
Okay, so here is important to know that the liver should normally be dark red brownish. And
Right.
look at this, it's like a light pink. I'm not sure if the color comes off on your screens correctly, but
No,
it's
it's light.
it's
Light brown.
light pinkish, light brown, and the liver is like a gelatin or like the
Can I interject real quick?
yeah.
This thing was vaccinated because, dude, I have a whole like it is partly a theory, but there is some evidence. There's evidence for it too. But that if it's been vaccinated, they inject parasites into the animal through the vaccine, and then those parasites go to different organs and different things and wreak all kinds of havoc. Whereas if you get an animal that's never been vaccinated, then you'd be the best bet that you won't get any of those. Do you think that's happening?
Dude, there's so many livers with worms in them. It could just be. I cannot confirm the substance in the vaccine because I have not touched upon it, but
That's why they tell us to cook all our meat. They're putting all these poisons in it, and then like, oh, you gotta like cook your meat, which I think cooked meat is still good, but it's just not as good as raw. But it's like they don't want us eating raw, so they've like contaminated it. You
yeah,
have
it
to
was
go out of your way
very
to find like actually clean. If you're gonna eat it raw, like you can't really just go to Whole Foods and buy it off the behind the glass. I mean, you can if you want, but it's not gonna necessarily be safe.
it was very normal to find livers that had worms in them and scarring tissue of worms having lived there.
That's
And
crazy, dude. And these are all vaccinated animals, probably.
yeah, but the veterinary that because they have a protocol where I work where a veterinary has to go through, cut up the organs and look inside, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he finds anything. But he was
'Cause in
actually
nature,
good
like this
at
generally.
he was good
Hold on,
at
real quick.
taking
This doesn't
away
happen.
those with the worms.
If you get like a wild deer, generally they won't have any of these. So
Oh yeah, the livers, even from the domesticated, or they're not domesticated, but the deers that the farmer could have and raise on their own, they're not fully domesticated yet, but you know that he can work deers here. They can work deers here in Norway like they would any other animal. And the livers of those, they are perfect. Even they weren't
yeah,
organic. They are so good because they're so much in touch with nature. So
yeah. And
let me just show
when the
this.
wild animal, like when they run around and they're eating the different plants, there's certain plants that have like anti-parasitic qualities to them. And these deer are so intelligent that they know how to seek out with their smell and everything, how to seek out the actual plants they need to keep their body healthy. Now, but then if you get into things like Lyme disease or like other freakish parasites, like that's still a question. Like, could those be in wild animals? And unfortunately, like it could be the case. However, if the animal has like access to all of its wild plants in its environment, there's the idea that nature actually puts in the medicines that that animal needs, and animal knows how to seek out and eat more of, you know, like a certain type of berry or a certain type of grass or a leaf or whatever that they know they need to eat more of to keep their body like fully clean. I just love that idea that like nature, the wild plants of nature are nature's natural anti-parasitic basically. Instead of all these chemical ones, you know, they're like practically giving the animals worms and then giving them dewormers with more chemicals is, you know, the way they're doing it now.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
like
let's
totally backwards.
take a look at the 30 seconds then, because I'll try and explain shortly what I see or think myself when I was looking at this. It's just 30
I mean,
or
you've gone
31
into
seconds.
this like I was kind of enjoying the combo before, but that's all right if you're shifting on, I suppose. But I'm not as into. I don't really want to look at nasty meat right now, to be honest, dude.
Okay.
That looks gross, so I'm just not in the mood. But if other people want to look at it, but we were on
We
some
can
cool
go.
topics. We were on some
We
cool
can
topics.
go. Yeah, we can go back. But if it's okay, I could just share this in another and show. You know, for the people who aren't getting in touch with this on a regular basis, for those who would like to look, I mean, you have the ability now to see how it ends up in the butchery, and I can like I don't need to show like, you know, other things than just the organ, how it affects the organ, and that's it. Can I get like 30
Yeah,
seconds for this video?
yeah, I don't mind. I mean, if people are looking at it, hey Dave,
Okay,
if you're here, quick
I'll
question,
hit play.
Dave, if you're here, do you think that there's two poles within a larger dome? Do you think there is like a hemispherical dome and then two poles within that? That's my question. If you're at your mic, or if you want to answer it at some point, since I see you're in here.
Repeat it again real quick. I'm working on a little thing I'm going to place in the chat real quick.
Like, do you think there's two poles within a larger, like 180-degree dome?
Yeah. It seems like there's a firmament of some sort. I don't know if it's a dome that goes all the way to the ground or something's containing the gas. I don't know if it could be a superfluid or whatever, but it seems like there's some kind of reflective of, well, the whole idea of the double rainbow is what's interesting about the idea for a firmament, because if the double rainbow reverses the colors and it's dimmer, it's always like the same spacing apart, and it's dimmer than the first rainbow. So if it was a firmament of a certain thickness, it would always be the same distance apart and be reverse colors as well as dimmer, not as bright as the first one. So it's like reflecting off the inside surface of the firmament and the outside surface of the firmament. I mean, that works as a possibility of what would be creating a double rainbow.
Interesting. You're saying that denotes layers of like dissipating,
like a thickness of something that's solid. The only way to E1 also was working on this. He said he could only recreate a double rainbow by using a salad bowl type bowl, like a glass bowl. You couldn't do it with any other like shape of a surface, but but you could get the same effect because it reflects the outside. It's like if the sun's reflecting off of the firmament, it reflects off both layers, the inside and the outside, and creates that illusion. He could recreate that illusion with a salad bowl, nothing else. It's not an illusion. He could recreate that effect of a double rainbow or whatever prism.
That's pretty interesting, dude. And then, have you seen this? I'll just post it real quick. Lion, if you were trying to get in, go ahead. But I did.
No. I just said, yeah, buddy.
This shows the relationship between the pyramids and rainbows, and the 51.84 degree with the 42 degree like edges. That one's
What do you look? Hold on, I was just drawing something. I was going to post in the thing still. All right. Hold on. Are you showing it? Are you sharing screen?
This fits this is the double rainbow. Basically, no, I posted it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
That double rainbow is related to the same angles as the pyramids. It's like some kind of sacred geometry connected to the double rainbow. And the 51.84 degrees and the golden ratio. Then the 50 to 53 degrees is the double rainbow that apparently, which they claim is connected to Earth's axis at its minimum tilt, but many of us would say, well, it's not the Earth's axis, it's actually the alignment of the tropics, on a planar stationary type Earth. So, but that's what they're saying, Earth's axis. So it's actually related to how the sky works.
Interesting. It reminds me of the thing that didn't become like as widely shared or talked about at the time, but the rainbows. I think it was Dave Weiss that was showing it on Ghostbusters back a while back, and he was showing that the rainbows get like more shallow and closer, like longer and stretched out towards like Antarctica. Like there was a series of rainbows.
That was the Earth Brothers. Founded Earth Brothers.
Yeah, I remember that. You think that's true? Because that's pretty.
I don't know. Yes, I've never witnessed it, but there's pictures of that being the case. I guess you could ask somebody in Antarctica if they've ever seen a rainbow like that, or just go there and get.
The closer that you get to the south, the closer that you get to the south, apparently the rainbows, their shape changes.
Did you hear when Whitsitt and those guys were talking about the angles of the sun are different in Antarctica? They're like longer. Have you guys heard that? Almost like the sun is at some kind of like a lower angle, as if you're getting out, like there's like a shallower, like a different angle. That was
I didn't hear him say that.
I don't remember him saying that, but I do remember the Antarctica